This is Mikie Sherrill, the governor of the state of New Jersey. On July 21st, the governor held a press conference regarding voter registration and made a startling admission.
In June of 2023, nearly 3 years before I became governor, a serious software error in New Jersey's motor vehicle system led to the improper voter registration of what we believe to be roughly 6,600 people in our state.
A software error. Right. Because computer programs just spontaneously decide to register thousands of ineligible voters all on its own. Must be that rogue AI we've been warned about.
When New Jerseyans applied for a driver's license or identification at the MVC, they were asked if they wanted to register to vote. In the case of this error, some individuals indicated that they weren't citizens and weren't eligible to vote, but the software registered them anyway.
Wait, let me get this straight. The screen asks, "Are you a citizen?" They literally hit no, and then the computer says, "Yeah, close enough. Here's your voter card." Quality control at its best.
The error in the software was corrected a year later in June of 2024. That is more than 2 years ago.
A whole year to fix like an entire line of code? And then another 2 entire years before anyone in the government thought to mention it to the public? I guess transparency just means waiting until the elections are safely in the rearview mirror before casually admitting that you completely botched the voter rolls.
I learned of this last Wednesday, and I immediately ordered my chief counsel to launch a comprehensive investigation. Currently, the Division of Elections is working to ensure anyone who is illegally registered is removed from the voter rolls.
Don't worry, guys. The government is investigating the government, so I'm sure accountability is just right around the corner.
Initial analysis shows that fewer than 400 newly registered individuals voted in an election due to this software error.
Fewer than 400. That is nearly 400 illegal votes, actively canceling out the voices of 400 legal American citizens. And she announces it with the casual annoyance of a barista letting you know that they just ran out of oat milk.
They were registered as Democrats, Republicans, and the majority unaffiliated, and were scattered across the state. But let me be clear, this entire situation is unacceptable.
Oh good, the glitch registered Democrats and Republicans. It was one of those nonpartisan software failures.
It's unacceptable that the vendor released software with such a glaring error. It's unacceptable that the MVC took a year to get this issue fixed. And it's unacceptable that no one in the previous administration brought this to light, demanded accountability, or took action when it happened years ago.
Notice the pivot. Throw the software vendor under the bus, throw the DMV under the bus, and then throw the previous Democrat governor under the bus. But whatever you do, just make sure that you don't take any responsibility.
I'm taking immediate action to make sure something like this doesn't happen again.
Immediate action, guys. 3 years after the fact.
Administrator Johnson has already started the process to replace the vendor behind the error.
But in a statement, the software vendor, IDEMIA, pushed back. IDEMIA works with the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission and has, for more than 40 years, to support the process through which eligible individuals may indicate their interest in registering to vote when applying for or renewing a driver's license or state-issued identification card. IDEMIA's role is to transmit information through the motor vehicle system. The voter registration information is transmitted to the New Jersey Department of State Division of Elections, which is ultimately responsible for verifying eligibility to vote. Information submitted by IDEMIA must still be validated and adjudicated by the Division of Elections. So the vendor basically said, hey, we just transmit the raw data. It's the Division of Elections' job to actually verify if these people are allowed to vote. And the Motor Vehicle Commission is not the Division of Elections.
We're sending letters to the people impacted by this error, and we will remove anyone from the voter rolls who may have improperly registered.
Wow, removing illegal voters from the voter rolls. Give the governor a Nobel Prize for basic competency.
As the Trump administration tries to weaponize elections for political gain, I am ensuring that we protect our elections.
Ah, there it is. The state of New Jersey accidentally registers thousands of non-citizens, lets them vote, covers it up for 2 years, and whose fault is it? Donald Trump's, of course.
Let me be clear. Donald Trump has zero credibility on the issue of election integrity. For the past 10 years, he's cried wolf and peddled bizarre conspiracy theories about fraud with no evidence.
But at the same time, we've been lectured by Democrats in the media that non-citizen voting is a debunked right-wing conspiracy theory. They told us it never happens. It's against the law. But now the governor is standing in front of a podium admitting that hundreds of non-citizens literally voted in her state, and she's mad at Trump for pointing it out. F***ing clown world.
We don't deflect, deny, or exploit problems for our own gain. We find them and we fix them.
We find problems and then we fix them. Really? How exactly do you uncast a ballot, Governor?
This happened it started in 2023, it was cut and stopped in 2024. However, we are now actively working to remove those less than 400 voters from the rolls. So potentially this could have occurred, they could have occurred in any election since the time they were registered.
Yeah, potentially any election, including local municipal races that are routinely decided by just a handful of votes. But hey, it's just a few hundred illegal votes. Who's counting?
Like specific numbers or like which elections, which of those 400 voted in?
We've launched an investigation. We should have more information.
Governor, will the outcome of that investigation be public?
I will be presenting the findings of that investigation.
Notice she didn't say, I will release a full, unedited report that will be made public. No, she said she will present the findings, which means she gets to act as the editor-in-chief of her own scandal.
We have no evidence at this time that any elections were swayed.
Notice how fast the goalposts moved here. It went from non-citizens voting is a myth to, okay, non-citizens voted, but it didn't actually change who won. That's not how election integrity works. Every single illegal vote directly steals and dilutes a legal citizen's vote, regardless of who wins the race. For example, according to Ballotpedia, there have been 7 elections in New Jersey since the glitch that were decided by 10 votes or less, including this 2024 Trenton City Council election that was decided by 1 vote. 1 vote! That's all it takes to decide who runs your town and spends your tax dollars. So when your state government lets 400 non-citizens vote and then claims no harm, no foul, don't buy it.
These two things seem to be unrelated. So last Wednesday was when I first heard about this. I immediately launched an investigation, and this is what we've uncovered so far, and the investigation continues. We received a letter that there were this 35,000 from DHS potentially.
So just a couple days after the governor was made aware of the glitch that added several thousand non-citizens to the voter rolls, the New Jersey Secretary of State received a letter from the Department of Homeland Security stating that there may have been as many as 35,152 non-citizens registered to vote there. So for clarity, she literally just confirmed that thousands of non-citizens are on New Jersey's voter rolls. And then when the Trump administration tells her the same thing, she claims that the two things are completely unrelated. Makes sense to me. What's your problem?
So we have asked them for any evidence of this, where they got that number, who this is. We've received nothing back yet.
But the letter is the evidence. Secretary of Homeland Security Mark Wayne Mullen wrote, I am writing to make you aware of the concerning results of a recent analysis of New Jersey's publicly available voter registration database information. Preliminary review of the records revealed that there may be as many as 35,152 non-citizens registered to vote in New Jersey. As an example, we found 19,497 New Jersey registrants for whom the name, date of birth, address, and social security number match a non-citizen in our files. All the governor has to do is look at the same voter registration data that DHS is looking at and then verify their claims. But God forbid she did a bare minimum. And notice the blatant double standard here. When DHS points out that there are potentially 35,000 non-citizens on the rolls, Sherrill writes it off entirely and demands hard, irrefutable evidence. You know, because Orange Man bad. But on the other hand, she's allowed to claim that the original 6,600 was just an innocent little software glitch, and we're supposed to blindly take her word for it. No proof required, just trust the government that hid it for 2 years.
Looking at how we can continue to provide the most secure election possible, our Innovation Authority is providing the PIN pad, and they will be providing it in 5 different languages. Now it's only in English to make sure there's no confusion. So we will be looking at different possibilities of making our elections more secure going forward.
Oh good, 5 different languages. That was the problem. Leave it to a state government to fix a massive multi-year voter fraud oversight by ensuring that their administrative incompetence is fully multilingual. Problem solved, everyone.
I see no reason why our state cannot run an election system well and have a computer program that can operate well. And should any problem occur, it should be caught quickly. This is just, to me, not a problem with some of our laws. It's a problem with accountability. It's a problem with making sure government is effective and running well, and it is really a lack of responsibility.
She wants to give a lecture about accountability and a lack of responsibility, but the governor and her fellow Democrat leaders engineered this exact environment that caused this disaster in the first place by actively encouraging illegal immigration and handing out driver's licenses to people who aren't legally in the country.
We now have certain people that through no fault of their own have been registered to vote.
Through no fault of their own. That is just a remarkably generous legal defense to just hand out from a podium before the investigation is even finished. Has she personally interviewed all 400 of these non-citizens who illegally cast ballots? How exactly does she know that they're completely innocent? Oh, right, she doesn't.
It may imperil their immigration status. It may imperil different things. We are working very hard to protect them. But that is the responsibility of the people that worked for the MVC that knew that this was going on and did nothing to remedy it.
Wait, now she's acting like the victim here is the illegal voter. Oh, the poor non-citizens who accidentally voted in our elections might get in trouble.
It would be really the utmost in hypocrisy for the state to charge them when it's our fault. However, I would not put it past the federal government, so we are working very hard on ways in which we can protect people here in the state of New Jersey.
Oh, did the software drive them to the polling place and fill out their ballot for them? Give me a break. It's the equivalent of saying that if a bank accidentally leaves its vault door wide open and you walk in and pocket 10 grand, it's the bank's fault. So much for no one is above the law, huh, Democrats?
We are not in the practice of releasing personally identifying information to the federal government right now, given that the Trump administration continues to weaponize it against people.
In what world is it acceptable for a state official to actively obstruct federal law enforcement just because they don't like who's sitting in the White House? Sacrificing election integrity at the altar of the resistance is exactly how you destroy public trust. She isn't defending democracy. She's actively dismantling it to score cheap political points. Anyway, that's it for now. Head on over to my super cool merch store at don'twalkrun.shop. As always, thank you very, very much for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you next time. If there is next time.